Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. If you want to start your own clothing brand, there's one document that you must have that will make or break your first collection that most new designers overlook, and that's called a tech pack. Without the correct tech pack, your manufacturers are left to guessing what your idea is, and basically what that is going to do is end up in a lot of time wasted and a lot of money wasted. So in this video, I want to walk you through the 3 key components that I think that you must have for your tech pack, and how to create a professional tech pack, even if you've never made one before. So it's going to save you time, money, but more importantly, keep your manufacturer's trust. Also, make sure you watch to the end because I've also got a free checklist that'll help make your tech pack way easier to build. So first off, simply, if you've never heard of this before, what is a tech pack? A tech pack is short for technical pack, and it's basically your design's blueprint. When you have an idea for an item of clothing that you want to create, you need to efficiently communicate that with a manufacturer. Because chances are you aren't going to be the one sewing the clothes yourself. You're going to go to a manufacturer, possibly even overseas, and you need to explain that product well enough to the manufacturer for them to understand your idea clearly. So this tech pack will include everything that the manufacturer needs to know to be able to create your piece. That could be the fabric that you use, the cut that you use, stitch techniques, dyes, washes, logos, everything down to the last thread. So if you leave something out of your tech pack, basically it leaves the manufacturer having to guess exactly what you want. And what that's going to do is result in a product that you weren't really after. It will come back with wrong fabric, wrong stitching techniques. It will come back with the wrong colors. And it's going to result in a lot of time lost and a lot of money wasted. So let's start with the first key part that every factory partner expects to see. So a tech pack has about 6 to 8 sections, but it's not what you include and how you organize it. So the first page that you create is going to be called the cover page. This will include your brand name, the logo, any contact information, the version of the piece that you're creating. This will help keep track of revisions. And what I like to do is include a sort of overview 2D sketch of the piece that I want to create, along with the title of the piece. Moving on to page 2, this is going to be your technical sketches. So this page 2 will include exactly what it is that you're trying to create. If you are trying to create a t-shirt, it'll have the front and the back of the t-shirt designed exactly how you want it to look. Number 3 is going to be measurement specs or measurement specifications. This is going to be the exact sizing of the piece that you want to create, down to even the tolerances that you have. So here we want to list exactly the measurements of the garment. If we were to take a t-shirt, for example, you would have to measure the sleeve length, the neck hole opening, how far the drop is on the t-shirt, where the bottom of the t-shirt sits, how wide you want the shoulder stitch to come down. Any measurement that you can add that's going to tell your manufacturer exactly the size of the clothing that this is going to make. A key tip with this too is to make sure you measure any tolerances that you may have. If you're measuring from the neckline down to the hem, make sure to include whether that measurement has the hem included or not. Because without specifying whether it's to the bottom of the hem or the top of the hem, this could add another inch onto the bottom of your garment. Number 4 is going to be materials and trims. In this section, you want to include anything about the material itself. This could include the fabric type. So for an example, if you wanted it to be 100% cotton, you would say 100% cotton. You also want to state the GSM of your piece. If you don't know what GSM is, it means grams per square meter. And it's basically explaining the density of the fabric that you want. As an example, a heavyweight hoodie that's been really popular lately are the big, thick hoodies, and they're around the 400 GSM. But if you're creating a light t-shirt for summer, maybe that will be sitting around the 180 grams per square meter. Another key tip for this section, you can either add this to the materials and trim section or in section 4, which is colorways, is you want to make sure that you state what colors the details are, so threads and everything. A lot of people will just think about the color of the garment itself and the logo, but then forget to state what color they want the stitching to be. Do you want the stitching to be the same Pantone as the fabric itself? Do you want it to be an opposing color? Some people like to have a black shirt and then have white stitching, so the stitching really pops out and make it a detail within the garment. So number 5 will be specifically for colors. This will state any actual Pantone colors. If you want to create a t-shirt that's of a specific color, let's say you wanted to create a yellow t-shirt, the best way that you can communicate to them what the exact color is by finding the Pantone color. You can find Pantone colors on the website www.pantone.com. I'll put the link here. And this is a company that made a true to color scale. So worldwide, people can say, if you want this color for this shirt, or you want this color done for a building paint, we have a correct reference that everyone goes by so that we can communicate efficiently. One thing that I've learned about dealing with manufacturers over the internet, because a lot of the times your manufacturers are going to be overseas, is that it's very hard to communicate colors digitally. If I take a photo here and I send it to you via the internet, we could have different phones, different laptops. That color will look very, very different. And it's a lesson that I learned the hard way by revising a piece and accepting a color. And then when we got the sample back, the color was totally different to what we sent over. So we can minimize this risk of getting the wrong color by picking the correct Pantone color and sending that to the manufacturer so they know exactly the color that we're after. Number 6 is the construction details. So in this section, we want to explain exactly what we want in terms of the stitch type, the seam finishes, the lining, everything to do with actually putting the piece together. If you don't know much about this, I can do a separate video on this, but basically there's a lot of different ways that you can finish off a garment with different types of stitches, different locks. A lot of them have different reasons for why you do them, but basically if you send off a tech pack without this, they'll just give you the bare minimum, and that will be finishing off the seam in a certain way. And if you want a quality garment, you have to specify that you want a specific finish. If you don't specify it, they will give you the bare minimum because it's cheaper for them and they'll make more money. Number 7 is labels and packaging. So in this section, you will specify exactly where you want the label to sit, how you want it to be stitched, what you want on the care label. This will tell them how to wash the clothes, how to take care of them. And also if you're using this the same manufacturer for your packaging, all the details of your packaging itself, where you want the logo to be, how big you want the packaging. If your tech pack follows this flow, the factories are going to enjoy working with you because it mirrors their internal process. It makes you look more professional, and it makes this whole process easier for not only them, but also yourself. So let's talk about the one page that will prevent you from losing money if you do it right. So this one page has saved us more money in the design process than any of the others, and it was paying very, very close attention and detail to the labels and packaging section. Label placement, tag examples, packaging mock-up. If you skip this step, your product might show up with the wrong care tags, the wrong sized label, or even the label printed off center. There are certain things that you can get away with if your bulk order comes back and it is incorrect. Sometimes if you approve a sample and then order the bulk order, it doesn't always mean that the bulk order is going to come correctly. Factories are humans just like all of us, and we all make mistakes. And if your bulk order turns up incorrect, depending on what the mistake is, it could result in the item being unsellable. And it's not always that we have the luxury, especially if you're a small brand with low capital and just starting out, that you have the time and the resources to order another bulk order or start again or wait for the new bulk order to come. An example of this could be that if you got the bulk order and some of the measurements were out by 1/2 inch on all seams, but the garments still fit well, that is something that you can decide whether you are wanting to get away with and put it out to your customers. However, if you get a whole entire bulk order back with something like the stitched labels incorrect, maybe they've got the incorrect spelling of your brand name, this is something that you cannot put out to the public. So making sure that your labels section is dialed in down to the last full stop is going to prevent you from any really, really big mistakes that may result in a lot of time or money. So here's the pro tips to make you look legit and make your manufacturers take you more seriously, even if this is your first tech pack and your first time dealing with manufacturers. Number 1 is to use version numbers. So a version just means the first version of your piece that you're creating. Even if you spend all the time in the world creating the best tech pack that you possibly can, You have very clear communication about what the product is that you want to create. Unfortunately, it's not unlikely that the first version that you create is going to be the final piece. Creating a quality garment, especially one that aligns with exactly with the vision that you're trying to create, is a tough process, and it might take a couple of goes to get it right. So make sure to include a section called versions or revisions, and this will help you keep track of which tech pack you have. When you send the first tech pack, it will be version 1. And then following up from this, if you have to make a new tech pack, fixing the mistakes that were made with the first sample piece, you will then call that revision 2 or version 2. Number 2 is to stay consistent with your branding. So even though this is a technical pack and it's behind the scenes and the public won't see it, as a designer, it's nice to make sure that your layout is consistent, it's simple, it's minimal, but overall it's just a clean look. Because if you give something to a manufacturer that has too many colors and logos and brands and different fonts, and then you change it next time that you send it, it's not visually appealing and it's not going to be great for them to look at. It will confuse people, but also it makes you look unprofessional. Number 3 would be adding notes for the manufacturers. Make sure to add clear, concise notes for them to read, enabling them to understand exactly what you want a lot clearer. Number 4 is exporting this file. So once you've created your tech pack, you want to export it as a PDF. This is going to make it a lot easier for your manufacturer to be able to read, and it just makes the process of them dealing with you and seeing your vision a lot easier. Number 5 is obviously do not delete your tech pack. Once you've created your tech pack and given it to your manufacturers, that's not the end of the process. You want to make sure that you have that tech pack readily available for a couple of reasons. Number 1 is when you get the samples back, you want to check your samples against your tech pack, because this will make sure that they've done exactly what you said you wanted, but it'll also help you keep track of maybe mistakes that you've made along the way or changes that you need to make for the next oncoming revisions. Also, by making sure you save all your tech packs, is you can revise these later on. So if you come out with a piece now, maybe you want the same cut of garment as this one, but maybe a different design. It'll be a lot easier for you and a lot less work to bring that old tech pack back up and just change the colorway and the design. So just like starting any other business, starting a clothing brand involves making relationships with other people. These people will become a big part of your success, and if you can establish a relationship early on, the better. It will result in clearer communication, better products, and if things go wrong, and let's say the manufacturers make a mistake or you make a mistake, it's going to be a lot easier with a better relationship with them to come up with a solution than if they don't really care about you. So to reiterate, the best way that we can do this is by being polite, being professional, and making sure that the way that we present ourselves to the manufacturer is the same as what we're expecting in them. So thanks for watching the video. If you guys found this video helpful and you would like me to make a more in-depth video on how to make a tech pack, then comment tech pack in the video and I'll make another one explaining exactly how to do it, what programs to use. And I might even attach to that video a link where you guys can access the base blueprint for the tech pack that I had created. See you in the next video.